We're here at Blue Bay Campground, Deschutes National Forest, Central Oregon, one of the 3 campgrounds around Suttle Lake on the south side. Let's go check out the campsites. Here's our first intersection. Sites 1 through 18 are this way. Sites 19 through 25 in the boat ramp are this way. Let's keep hiking along. Got a restroom here, central location. We're going to go the path of the vehicle and keep right. And here we are. Here is campsite number 1. You got a dumpster right in front of you, conveniently located. Campground road goes to the left. Good, nice, big, wide parking area. A little bumpy, but should be okay for most vehicles. You can see a picnic table beside you. That's the site next to you. But up here at your picnic site, doesn't look like you're gonna have any privacy issues. And look at this. This is pretty nice. Picnic table, fire pit, getting nice views of Suttle Lake. So as far as lot lines, over there you're gonna see all of the action from the boat ramp. Here's a little bit of a turnabout with the boat ramp. So that's gonna be loud. Hear a lot of beep, beep, beep. It's a little suboptimal. You have the silhouette and some views of Suttle Lake, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a money shot. Let's come down here and see if you have your own more special direct access. Coming down here, I will also remind that there is a Suttle Lake Shoreline loop. I actually have videos of that hike available on my channel. So you're tapping into that right here. So this is gorgeous right here, Suttle Lake. Come down here, and now, lo and behold, we are on Suttle Lake Loop. I'll just come down here just so you get a sense. There's the loop. Here's a nice little access point, actually. And here's the loop over here as well. A little windy, but kind of feels nice. And here's your shoreline access, so that's pretty gorgeous. This is your point of entrance to the lake from campsite number 1 at Blue Bay Campground. Let's walk back up. So theoretically, you could use that as like a kayak access point. From my understanding, this isn't a real deep lake, so they discourage heavy boats, and it's more, fishing dinghies and kayaks and canoes and rafts and flotation devices, etc., etc. So now you're back up here at campsite number 1. So not bad. I mean, look at that view of the forest with the sun peeking through. So you got some pretty good shade. Good lot lines. As far as 2 is obscured over there. Probably the biggest privacy ding is just knowing that you got your boat ramp right here. So you're gonna see cars and boats launching all day. That could get a little annoying to have that in the background, but you do have some access to the lake. You got to carry your kayak a bit. So 1's interesting, a mixed bag. Some positives, some negatives. Ends up just being what your priorities are. Let's continue along. I gotta say, pretty good distance between 1 and 2 as far as the parking. Here is 2. This is probably 3 right across the way, so that's a little exposed, but let's check out the lot lines itself. Here's 2, and you got nice parking. You are on the lake side, so you got pretty big silhouette of the lake. You got some direct shots to the lake. I wouldn't say it's money shot, but it's pretty good. Picnic table, fire pit. The parking for 1 is over there, but conveniently the picnic table is around the bend there between those trees, so you don't have a direct line of sight. So that's good privacy lines. They were thoughtful in that way for 1 and 2. Picnic table, fire pit. Good silhouette of the lake, as I said. I will say above the lake is the main highway, Highway 20. So you are gonna hear some truck brakes and noises, but it is what it is. It's kind of worse at night when you're trying to sleep. Sometimes that can be an issue. As far as lake access, here you've got a little carved out stump. Ooh, and you got your own little trail stair step system, kind of cool. I will take this. These be merciful spider webs. Oh, no spider webs. So this is pretty cool. So now this is the Suttle Lake Shoreline loop down here. So this is a general hiking loop that goes all the way around the lake. So you will have people moseying on by right here. and see right up here, you can see the picnic table. So right where I'm standing is the trail. So people do have a direct shot of your picnic table as they're moseying on by this way. Generally, I guess they can go clockwise or counterclockwise, but most people seem to go counterclockwise. And I can back up to 2. So it's kind of interesting. You've got your own stair system down to the shoreline loop and presumably lake access with like a kayak, although that you wouldn't want to try to carry a kayak down there, down the stairs. I guess you got this straightaway on the right. So if you're trying to drag a kayak, I guess that would work. You could go straight down here and then access the lake straight ahead. It's a little steep and that looks like a big drop off into the lake. So if you're not sure-footed, that is suboptimal, but it could work. So these are the pros and cons of Site 2. Again, you got your fire pit and your picnic table. As far as lot lines with 3, presuming that's 3 across the way, that could be an issue because see, you can see the picnic table straight ahead. So mixed bag. Wouldn't say premium, but it's got a lot of pluses going on. And see, these views of the lake are pretty high quality. So kind of an interesting site, Blue Bay Site 2. Not bad overall, I'd say. It's got a lot of positives. Yeah, a lot of it just has to do with, do you prioritize privacy? Do you prioritize lake access? Prioritize the sound at night of the trucks going by on the highway? I mean, these are all difficult to quantify as far as in relation to each other. Okay, so here is campsite 3. Alarm bells, red flashing sign. I would not do 3. If you watch some of my other campsite reviews, you know I'm always hard on the inners because you want to be on the outer. See, at least over there too, you can see the picnic table, it's up against the lake, Suttle Lake. And if you're here, you're presumably trying to be near the lake. Well, 3 is an inner, already a strike against it. And look at that picnic table behind it. No, my friend, this is not a double. I see there's a second fire pit over there. That is a separate site. So 3 is absolutely atrocious. Whatever you do, do not book site 3 at Blue Bay. I thought 1 and 2 were pretty high quality on the lake, but 3 is camping abomination. You got your picnic table and fire pit right here, and literally another site, I don't know what that is, 15, 20 feet away, and you're not even up against the feature. So to me, this is like camping nightmare, like National Lampoon type campsite. Got Chevy Chase campsite where he gets there and his trip is ruined, that kind of a situation. That's how I would rank 3. So since these are all reservable at Recreation.gov, it's not like you're just rolling in, you know, Friday at 8 p.m. just desperate for a site. You would have had to book this and plan ahead. So I personally wouldn't take 3 unless you're hoping to make new best friends, because if you didn't know the people across from you 20 feet away before you started, by the end you'll be all close, trusted friends. Here is site 4. It's an inner, so again, already a strike against it. Definitely better than 3. Got your picnic table, fire pit straight ahead, nice wide parking. This at least has respectable lot lines. They have a yellow jacket thing there. And so picnic table, fire pit, good place to put your tent straight ahead. Pretty good shade. This one's not bad. It looks like there's some campsites on the other side there. So it's not perfect lot lines. Ooh, I will show off the sun. So this is good shade. I'd say 4 is good shade for an inner, probably a better than average inner. So 4 is not bad. I think you could be happy in 4, have a sense of privacy, good shade. Probably wouldn't pick it because I'd rather be on the outer up against the lake. Again, I don't really understand the point of coming to a lake and then not camping lakeside, but call me old-fashioned. Here is campsite 5. There's your forest road just for perspective. Whereas you park, not really a big parking area. So if you got maybe not an RV or a gigantic trailer situation going on. So let's come over here. This is interesting. Picnic table, fire pit. Bit of a steep drop off here. It's like one part of this fence has been broken off right here, but not a big deal. It kind of looks like a trail too, so maybe not broken off, maybe it's intentional. It's like a little bit of a trail down there, but that looks pretty steep and dangerous. I probably wouldn't go down there unless you are a wilderness adventurer and very sure-footed. But if you're not used to wilderness adventuring, if you're not used to wilderness adventuring, I would say do not cross the threshold of this fence, because this is pretty steep and it'd be very easy to slip and really hurt yourself. So that's not for the faint of heart. That's for like a professional wilderness adventurer who's sure-footed, knows what the heck they're doing, is nimble, I probably wouldn't recommend most people go down there. So kind of an interesting perspective. Look at the views of the lake. I mean, that's pretty epic. So you got your picnic table, fire pit, you got kind of small parking, so it's not for an RV or trailer, it's a small parking. 4 across the way, like you can see the picnic table straight ahead. Epic overlook view of Suttle Lake. So look at that. So if you just want to sit in your picnic table and overlook a lake and just kind of hang out, read a book, and just kind of have the lake behind you, then this, Site 5 is absolutely spectacular for that. It's kind of a cramped site, claustrophobic site. It's not big. It's not for like kids to run around and play. I wouldn't pick 5 if that's what you're looking for. As I said, the parking's small, the actual square footage of the campsite's teeny, and you're up against this fence with a danger aspect falling down this cliff, hill situation. So if you're looking for a bunch of kids to be able to run around and play, I would not pick 5. This might be better for, somebody who's retired who just kind of wants to sit and enjoy the lake in the background and, read a book or play on their Kindle or do whatever it is they're going to do. Then I think 5 would be idyllic. I will point out, as far as privacy, you do have this one right next to us. I haven't checked, it's probably 6. So that's suboptimal. You see where the picnic table and fire pit for 6 is. You see where it is from 5. So I'll look at the lot lines as if we were hanging out at the picnic table. Yeah, I mean, it's a slight obstruction. It helps a little bit, but this is too familiar for my humble. Maybe I'd sit right here, and that kind of gets you these trees blocking you, but that's a little familiar. So that's a strike against it. So 5 is I want a gorgeous premium overlook of Suttle Lake play, which, I mean, look at this. This is world class. This is gorgeous. So if you're all about the view of Suttle Lake and you're fine with a smaller kind of cramped site, you definitely don't have shoreline access directly from here. And then you kind of have some privacy line issues with 6 kind of right next to you. If you're willing to take that trade-off, then 5's awesome. As I said, I probably wouldn't take 5 if I had like kiddos that need to run around, because you're asking for trouble with this dangerous hill here and very little area to play, and then they're going to get inevitably too close to the people next to you, and then you're going to have conflict the whole time. That's no bueno. But if you just want to sit here with a book or a Kindle or an iPad and just hang out, enjoy the beauty, then spot 5 is pretty nice. Let's continue along. So again, that's 4 across the way. 5's got kind of weak parking. Fine for like an SUV, but I wouldn't do an RV or a trailer situation with like a boat at 5. You're not gonna have enough room. Here's our next one. It's kind of gonna be exactly the same situation going on as 5, keeping it real. But that's actually 7 over there. So here is 6, another inner. Park here. You got your neighbor right there, so that's kind of poor lot lines. Although you are up here a little bit into the forest, so we'll see what that yields you. So picnic table and fire pit. Ooh, look how close you are to 4. 4 is right there, straight ahead. So that's horrible lot lines, 4 and 6. So that's not great. And then you even have a shot over to 5. Yeah, this is not great. And then down there, yeah, I'm not a fan of 6. Trying to be balanced, 6 got pretty good shade, but it's an inner and it's kind of fishbowled amongst 4, 5, and 7, and 8. And so I would not pick 6 personally. Not what I'm looking for when I come to Suttle Lake. My viewpoint is there's 3 campgrounds: Blue Bay, South Shore, and Link Creek. There's multiple shoreline, lake shoreline campsites. So I don't know why you'd pick 6. Not great in my opinion. Here is 7. Again, here's a general idea of the area. There's an exposed one over there, another one down there, and here's the sign for 7. Here's your parking. 7 is going to be similar to 5. Like, you park here, and The actual picnic table, like money shot view of the lake is spectacular. This is a premium one as far as the lake view. As you see, you got your picnic table, you got your fire pit, hang out at your picnic table, hang out at your fire pit, just kind of overlook the lake. So again, if you're just like reading a book or a Kindle or an iPad and you just want to sit and kind of have the relaxation of the lake as your ambiance, your background, then 7 is good. But it's a very cramped, claustrophobic area, not room for kids to run around and play. If you have a big family and you want kids to be able to play, I wouldn't pick 7 because they will get bored and claustrophobic quickly. We'll also say, you see you got 5 straight ahead, you see the picnic table. So 5 and 7 are kind of on top of each other. I would recommend 5 and 7 as a group play. If you want to take over this kind of viewing zone with the fence, you take 5 and 7 as a outstanding group play. Now you don't have to worry about the privacy lot lines and you have this whole swath overlooking Suttle Lake to yourself. So that's probably my favorite recommendation for 5 and 7. Again, this is 5 over here. Take 5 and 7 as a group play and you are in heaven because you've basically taken this entire overlook zone. Or if you're going to do 5 or 7 individually, it feels more like, to me, it's for like a couple or a retired person just kind of wants to sit and relax and doesn't really need shoreline access and doesn't have a big family to play. That's my humble recommendation. Look at those views. That's pretty gorgeous. The silhouette of Suttle Lake does not disappoint. This is a gorgeous area. And let's hike back down here. I'll point out straight ahead, you see that picnic table between the trees. So we do have somebody over there, and then we have somebody straight ahead here. So Blue Bay is not the best spaced. It feels like they tried to, kind of get as many in as they could. It's a premium zone up against Little Lake, so I get it. But these aren't like idyllically spaced. Their lot lines and privacy lines are not ideal, if I'm being completely candid. Here's site 8. Again, 7's there. You can see the picnic table. Here's your parking, nice big parking. So parking's great for long vehicle. And beautiful idyllic access to Suttle Lake, picnic table, fire pit. Now, if you really want to get crazy as far as the group play, you could take 8 and 7 and 5 up there, and then you will capture this entire fenced overlook area. I don't know, a lot of people don't want 3 sites, but if you're trying to come camp in the Suttle Lake area and you got a big group, then 5, 7, 8 is a decently high quality play, I would say. I will say, as far as just a single party mentality, 8 at least got a little bit better privacy lines, it feels like, than 5 and 7, although 5 and 7's views of the lake are better. So 8's a little bit more separated. If it was me, I would actually probably pick 5 or 7 if I was just doing like a small single family situation, because I'd rather have the lake views. This isn't so pretty right here. I don't know if they're gonna clear this out or if that's permanent, but kind of eyesore. And you do have access down to the trail. So you see this stair system. This takes you down to Suttle Lake Shoreline Loop, which is a approximately 3-mile loop that goes all the way around the lake. So bear in mind that there will be people doing the lake loop while you're camping. So you will see people like walk by you down here. You can see the Shoreline Trail down below. So there will be people traversing this area. You'll hear some talking going by periodically throughout the day as you camp up here. You are pretty obstructed for angle-wise, so you're not going to feel like people are in your business, I think. 8's situated right there, far enough away from the shoreline loop as far as angles that people aren't really going to be like traversing to your campsite, and they really wouldn't have any reason to come up these stairs unless they were trying to access Blue Bay Campground. So I don't think, unless they take a wrong turn, I don't think they would come up here. So that's good. Again, there's 7 and 5 up there. So that's 8. Decent shade, some views of Suttle Lake right here, and 5, 7, and 8 would be a great group play if you really want to get crazy, get jiggy, wild and jiggy here at Blue Bay Campground. But I would say that so far Blue Bay's had a few sites that were above average high quality, a few sites that were very low quality, no like home run dream sites, but it's a mixed bag like all campgrounds. Here's 9. This parking, you notice, a little bit more paved, whereas that one isn't as paved. So if you want a nice, sweet paved parking spot, 9 has got that going. Most of the other ones don't have that. This is kind of a fishbowl site. You got your picnic table, fire pit. You got 6 straight ahead there, so you got a straight shot to 6. And because the main forest campground road comes right through here, you're kind of fishbowled. So I'm not a fan of 9. It's an inner, it's kind of central to this hub and spoke system of campsites. So I'm not really a fan of 9. I wouldn't do 9. It's right next to the bathroom. So, I'll add this. If you're looking, I haven't checked ADA aspect as far as recreation.gov, but just based on my read of seeing it, the campsite being perfectly paved, for that it would be great because you do have nice lake views and you've got the pavement that takes you all the way to the restroom, and there's a dumpster right there conveniently located, so that's nice. Here's 10. See, there's the main campground road, just for perspective. A little bit of a loop-de-loo. You park right here. Got an interesting tree root situation you can use as a table, lay out your gear. Here's your picnic table and fire pit, kind of built into the side of this slope. And look up there, it's very pretty. So this is an interesting one. Unusually long picnic table, I like it. I'm digging it. Feels like a super picnic table. There is a picnic table straight ahead, so that's not the best lot lines. You got your sun peeking through as far as, the shade orientation. So this is probably shaded most of the day until the sun gets way straight up, then you probably have some direct sun, but lion's share of the day, this is probably pretty reasonable. You got the restrooms on the other side of this loop, so that's convenient, but probably not my favorite site. It's an inner, I wouldn't pick it. I don't know what's up there. Probably a view of Suttle Lake, but it's pretty steep. So unless you're really able-bodied, I probably wouldn't even try to go up there because that could very easily get dangerous, particularly trying to come back down. It's always harder to come down a slope than it is go up it. And that's why cats get stuck on the top of trees. So here is site 11. It is not reserved because the campground is closed. They just never took down the sign. Here's site 11. It's another inner picnic table, fire pit. You have a little bit of a lot line violation as far as privacy lines, because look, you got 10 right there between these trees. So you're sitting at your picnic table, you are line of sight to 10. You're not up against the lake. I don't really see any reason to be at 11, candidly. I don't see anything special about it. Yeah, if you want a base camp here at Blue Bay to play around the Suttle Lake area, then it works, serviceable, but certainly not a destination campsite. I mean, I know I'm being hard on this, but it's a beautiful forest. Pan up and look at these trees. Forest is world class, but lot lines at 11, not necessarily idyllic. As we continue along, we're gonna have 12 and 13. There's 25 total, so we're about halfway done. Here's 12. 12's an inner. I'm biased against inners because what's the point? I'd rather be up against the feature. That's why I'm at Suttle Lake. You got your parking. You got your picnic table, fire pit. Pretty forest. You are kind of exposed right on the road here. You got 13 straight across from you. And even worse than that, look at this one across the way. I don't know if that's 14 or 15, but dang. Hey, bestie. Yeah, I'm not a fan. This one's horrible. I wouldn't do this one. Lot lines are terrible. You're inner, you're landlocked, you're fishbowled, you're trapped. Not my cup of tea. Here's 13. Nice huge roundabout. I mean, look at this roundabout. There's the main forest road, this roundabout that goes all the way around. So if you want your own private driveway, if you dreamed of coming to the forest and having your own private driveway, 13 is the site for you. Look at this sun beaming through the trees. You got pretty good shade. Shade profile is going to change depending on this time of day. You got your picnic table, fire pit, good flat area, big area. Probably put my tent straight ahead. So it's nice and big and expansive. I like 13 better than 12. Yeah, tent right there would be perfect. You can see other campsites right there and right there and right there. So you have line of sight to 3 other campsites at least. So it's pretty open and exposed. And the sun later in the day is probably, see where the sun is right now, it's between these trees, but once it goes up there, then you are right in the line of glow of the sun. So between it being exposed and all the sun and the poor privacy lines, I wouldn't pick 13. Here's campsite 14. Park here, and you've got picnic table, fire pit, pretty standard. You're an inner, so you're no lake views from here really. Maybe the silhouette in the distance, but not what you're looking for. Again, picnic table, fire pit. I don't like that there's one right there. Look at that. That is a straight line of sight to this one, and this one doesn't really have anything good going for it. I would not pick this one. I mean, the forest is pretty, but you can say that about all 25 of these sites, and really all 3 campgrounds, Blue Bay, South Shore, and Link Creek here at Suttle Lake Campground, Deschutes National Forest, Central Oregon. So, not my cup of tea, 14. Here's 15. You got your forest road. Is this a doubler? I'm seeing 2 picnic tables, so presumably this is a double site. Could be more expensive. What do you get exactly for the higher price, you may ask? Well, you get 2 picnic tables. What else do you get? I don't know if you get anything else, candidly. Pretty wide turnabout driveway, so that's exciting. But beyond that, got garbage over there, fire pit, 2 picnic tables. You do have another site straight ahead, so as far as line of sight, it's a big area as far as forest. I'm not really sure, other than the 2 picnic tables, what you're getting for twice the cost. You're not even up against the lake. It's an inner site. So for me, I probably wouldn't pick 15. As I said, if you're looking for a double, I don't know what the heck you get for that. You're just basically, it's no different than a regular site, except there's 2 picnic tables. It's more seating essentially. But there's nothing about the site. I mean, it's a pretty big section, so maybe it would argue it's more square footage as far as more people to play. But beyond that, the value proposition isn't registering in my noggin. Here's 16. Again, we have our dumpster and water spigot right there. Here's our driveway. And we park. Shaded right now. It's morning. I think by later in the day, this will be directly in the sun. This isn't that well shaded. When the sun's high up in the sky, straight up there, then you will be in the direct sun. But in the morning, it's got good shade. Picnic table, fire pit. Oh, this is not great, I'll be honest, because look down there. You got 2 sites. Remember the number 3 I said earlier, red flashing warning, don't take? Well, that's down there with its friend right next to it. So you got 2 down there, but then look at over there. I think that was 14, and on the other side of it, like 12. So you got 2 over there. Oh, and you got the 15, the doubler right there, which could be a group, which could be a party situation. It'll probably be louder and more raucous than normal. So you are absolutely triangulated. So if you have a fantasy of coming into an inner site and being triangulated by other campsites, the 16 might be the site for you. But I probably would not pick it. Not to be so critical, but let's continue along. I'll look back. I mean, I know I'm being super harsh. This is a beautiful forest. And yeah, Deschutes National Forest is awesome. You're at Suttle Lake. So I guess one attitude is, what are you complaining about? Like, perfect standard me the good. Okay. But one of the reasons why I bother to do these campsite reviews is I'm looking for the creme de la creme. So even within the 25 sites here at Blue Bay, not all sites are equal. Just like in real estate, not all property lot lines are equal. So I'm not a fan of the inners generally. I kind of want a lake view. I feel like if you're coming to Suttle Lake, you want to see the lake from your picnic table, ideally. Here's 17. Parking is kind of weak. You have a parking here, but if you have a RV or trailer, don't even try to do 17 because you're not going to have room. Even a really large SUV could have trouble. So 17 is just kind of wedged in here. Not great. In the morning, very bright. So I probably wouldn't pick 17. That's, let me look back at it again. See, the sun, which is beautiful, is directly shining into 17 early in the morning. Maybe later in the day, you got better shade because it's right underneath some trees, but kind of tucked in there, kind of a claustrophobic site. And it's an inner. You got to walk to try to get to Suttle Lake. You're at 17, you're like, I heard there's a lake around here. Is it a rumor or is it true? Well, I don't really see the point of doing that. And here we are back at 18. I will say this ends this loop of 1 to 18. There's the original restroom, and there's one over there. So we just completed the loop. Here's 18. I would not do 18. Ooh, you got a water spigot right there. That's pretty cool. Digging that. But look, 18 is right up against 3. So unless you're going to do 18 and 3 as a group play, take over this area, I guess that would be my only recommendation, is if you took 18 and 3, then you have this whole section to yourself. But again, you're still inner, you're not on the lake. 1 and 2 are up against the lake. Well, I don't know why you wouldn't rather be at 1 or 2 up against the lake, in my humble opinion. And if you're going to do a group play, I would do 5 and 7, 5, 7, and 8, perhaps, if you have 3. So I would say as far as group, if you do 1 and 2, or 5 and 7, or 5, 7, and 8, those are your best group plays in the 1 to 18. I probably wouldn't let this section even play into my calculus. I don't think there's anything particularly great. You're kind of fishbowled right in the center of the campground. So not a fan of 18. The same red flashing warning I gave of 3, I'd give of 18. I'm not a fan of 18. It's 15 to 20 feet away from 3 with no breakage in your line of sight. So to me, that is what we call a deal breaker, my friend. So keep walking along. This campground is bifurcated into a loop of 1 to 18, which we just did the entire thing of. And now we're coming over to the boat ramp and 19 through 25. I'd say my review so far is not my final review because I haven't seen 19 through 25 yet, but I think that 1 and 2 were pretty decent quality. I think that 5, 7, and 8 were good views of the lake, particularly 5 and 7, but not the best privacy lines. So I feel like Blue Bay is not set up necessarily for at least 1 through 18 for like a idyllic single family setup. But I would say that if you got a group, then 5 and 7, or 5 and 7 and 8, or 1 and 2. At least you're on the lakeside, you're up against Suttle Lake Shoreline. Those are probably my recommendations. 5 and 7, 5 and 7 and 8, or 1 and 2. So that's like 3 group plays, depending on if you want 2 or 3 sites, that I would recommend. There probably wasn't one site that I would view as idyllic, like a dream site. If I was doing single family, I'd either do 1, 2, 5, or 7. Those are probably the 4 best in 1 through 18. And let's go check out the boat dock here. Got our fish cleaning station. Not relevant to us today because we are not fishing. Here's 19. So this is kind of interesting. Now this is a values priority check, right? Because you got your boat ramp right here, boat ramp launch dock for Blue Bay Campground, Suttle Lake. Beautiful. And then you have 19 right here. There's your little sign, 19. Now, if you want to be best possible location for the boat dock, then I don't know how you could argue 19 wouldn't be it. However, you're going to have people launching their boats. You're going to see trailers, beep, 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 all day while you're hanging out here. So you're sitting imagine you're sitting at that picnic table, you got your car parked there, and you got people launching their boat right here all day. Not only that, but you actually have the 3-mile Suttle Lake loop right here. See this? This is a hiking trail open to the general public. So it's not a campground specific trail. This is general public parking over at Suttle Lake Lodge and doing the 3-mile loop. So you got an endless stream of people, like presumably in summer, coming this way and continuing on the trail over here. This is actually the trail right here. So this is the Suttle Lake loop. So you got people hiking here and here, literally right by your campsite, like so intrusive that it's right in your business. So if you want to stay at 19 and essentially be the harbor master for your trip right up against the boat ramp, you pay a premium in the fact that you have constant people launching their boat and you have the main trail going right by your campsite, like total visibility, no law lines. That's not a trade I would take. I wouldn't want to be at the boat ramp so badly that I want the constant sound of boat launches and people walking around by my site, kind of in my business all day. Honestly, that sounds like a claustrophobic nightmare. So I wouldn't do that, but I know there are certain personality types that would be so proud to have such a close access to the boat ramp that they would take that, and more power to you if that's how you roll. I respect that completely. So certain type of person to take 19, in my humble opinion. A certain personality type, and 19 is their dream. But for, I think, a lot of people, 19 would not be idyllic. And I will stop waxing poetic about that. Let's go look at the fish cleaning station. And you just finished fishing, and here's your station. Very cool. You got water, fish cleaning, notice to fishermen. So I'll come over here, let you read that. You can pause that if you want to read that. In case you want to familiarize yourself with the rules. So those are the rules for the fish cleaning station. Fish cleaning station is right across from campsite 19, and 19 is right next to our boat ramp, boat launch. I guess I'll come down and take a look, because why not, right? So this is the beautiful Suttle Lake. Gorgeous alpine, horrific type lake here in Central Oregon. You can see you got Suttle Lake Lodges across the way as a boathouse as well. So here's Suttle Lake, my friend. Not really anybody on the lake today. And pretty windy. Pretty gorgeous. Look at this. This is pretty beautiful. I'm digging it. Digging it indeed. Oh man, this is beautiful. Can I interest you in a alpine lake wonderland? And we're gonna finish off our campsites. Got just a few left. Here is campsite 20 sign. 20 is right next to the fish cleaning station, so if you're a fisherman, 20 is probably pretty well situated. I'm digging 20 just walking up to it. This is pretty nice. Look at that view of Suttle Lake from the perspective of our picnic table. Imagine sitting down right here and enjoying the beautiful view of Suttle Lake. Here is our fire pit. And as far as the negatives, you do have a site right there. So you got poor lot lines. Probably the single biggest negative, and I would be negligent if I didn't point this out. As cool as the views of 20 is, like hanging out right here with Suttle Lake, widely visible from your picnic table, you do have the main Suttle Lake loop, 3-mile loop that circumnavigates this lake, moseying right by your campsite. You see straight ahead, this is the trail. Like I will walk over the trail 10 feet, and lo and behold, I am on the trail. Like this is the trail, see? So that's the main trail. Oh, hello there. The picnic table for 20 is like literally 10 feet from the trail. Like this could not be, like every single person that walks by, you're gonna be like, hello, how are you doing today, sir? So that's arguably a deal breaker. I mean, you get to be right next to the fish cleaning station. You're right next to the boat ramp on the other side of this greenery. And you got a money shot from the picnic table of Suttle Lake. So those are all heavily in the plus column. But you've got horrible privacy lot lines of people walking right by you going this way. You do have another site up here, presumably 21, which has a direct line of sight. So that's a pretty big trade-off. I will also add, you do have this stair step system down into the lake. You got to be real careful because you could really hurt yourself very easily going down that, especially if you're not paying attention. You could hit yourself, and you can fall and hit your head on the rock pretty easily right there. So it's cool that you have it. You just got to practice situational awareness going down these rock steps into the lake. This would be kind of a difficult area to get in and out of a kayak because of the rocks. It feels super dangerous. I much prefer more of like a flat beach to enter and exit the kayak. This feels like, because I have pungos and I have orus, and if I was trying to lift my heavy pungo down these rock steps, I feel like there's a high chance I would slip and hurt myself. The pungo is very heavy, and you'd have to navigate these steps while lifting something heavy. That sounds dangerous as heck to me. So I probably wouldn't try to access this with a heavy kayak because you're just setting yourself up for a real bad accident. But if you just want to go swimming or something, or if you're a fisherman, then look at this access. Imagine you come here fishing, you got your hip waders on or whatever, you go down, get a little bit into the lake, you're fishing in the lake, and then when you're done, you come back here and you sit right here and take your fish over to the fish cleaning station right around the corner. I mean, you're kind of in a fisherman's paradise. This is kind of set up to be a fisherman's zone, is kind of how I'm reading it. But the privacy lines are not great, so you pay a premium for it. I would not, well, this is also another stair-stepping section down here, so I'll point that out. Again, you got to practice situation awareness. I wouldn't try to take a kayak right there. It's too narrow and it's too dangerous going down these little mini steps. But for fishermen and or swimmer access, it would be great. So that's 20. 20 is a mixed bag of awesomeness and horror, depending on how you look at it. Incredible views of Suttle Lake, incredible access to the fish cleaning station, which is literally like 30 feet away from you, and great stair-step access into the lake, 2 spots actually, but you got the trail 10 feet away from your site, and you do have another site with bad lot lines. So if you don't care about privacy, 20 is amazing. It looks like 20 and 21 kind of share this cul-de-sac parking. So you see 21 and 20 both in this zone. So let's go up to 21. Again, the sign's right there. It's kind of a shared parking with 20, which access is there. And you're coming up here. This is nice. Got some cool points of interest and some trunks and a nice log over there. Here's your picnic table, your fire pit. So 21 is great as far as your lake views. Here you are enjoying the beautiful Suttle Lake. You could even sit down right here on this stump right here and enjoy Suttle Lake. There's the boathouse next to Suttle Lake Lodge on the other side of the lake. There's the sun, just so you know where that's hitting you. In the morning, you got pretty good privacy. I would say later in the day when it's up there, you're going to be directly in the sun. You don't really have any shade. So middle of the day, like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, it's going to be hot, direct sun, but in the morning, you're protected by the sunrise. This has got a nice big area over here. A lot of places you can put your tent, probably over here somewhere, kind of where I'm standing. Kind of a fun area to play. I will point out you got 22 right over there. You don't want to go too far this way. So look at this, great view of Suttle Lake, and that's nice, but now we're gonna go to the negatives. So you have 20 right there, so you kind of have a straight line of sight. I wish they put a couple trees kind of between you, but they didn't. So, or like, not that they make the trees, but you get the point. They could have crafted it maybe a little bit differently or cut down a little less trees. So you got 20 straight ahead, and you got 22 right over there, so you got that. But probably the worst part of this site, my biggest hesitation, other than saying it's an awesome site, is you have Suttle Lake Shoreline Loop. See this right here, my friend? This is the Suttle Lake Shoreline Loop. So this is the main trail. This is the main trail that circumnavigates the lake. So if I come down here, lo and behold, I am now on the Shoreline Lake Loop. And a lot of people do, this isn't like a campground specific trail. A lot of people park over there next to the day use area of Suttle Lake, and they do this 3 mile or so shoreline loop, circumnavigate the lake. So you're gonna have a lot of people throughout the day in the summer. If you're coming here like July, August, let's say, a lot of people moseying right by you, coming this way and literally walking right where I am, looking over at your site. And that is very fishbowl. That is horrible privacy lines. So a little bit of a tragedy, because it feels like 21 and 20 are pretty epic sites, but they happen to have the shoreline trail between them and the lake. So that's a little suboptimal. That's a lot of privacy to give up for the shoreline access. So life is trade-offs. It's a value system. If you want to be that close to the lake and want to be close to the fish cleaning station and don't mind, you know, dozens of potential people walking right through your site, then 20 and 21 are spectacular. But if you value, if you're a single family trying to kind of have an oasis getaway, get lost in your own nature bubble, then 20 and 21 just aren't going to work, because you're going to have strangers walking through your site all day. And at least for me, that would annoy the heck out of me. So for me, that's a deal breaker. But I acknowledge the gorgeousness of it. And if you don't care about privacy, if I am overestimating that aspect in your eyes, then by all means, 20 or 21 are pretty darn amazing. Got a little water spigot. Here's 22. You got parking is just kind of this little shoulder. That works. Probably not good for an RV or a trailer, but good for most vehicles. SUV would be fine. Got your picnic table, fire pit. You can see where the sun comes out. Forest is beautiful. Can't ever complain about Deschutes National Forest, my favorite forest in Oregon. You're not right on the lake. You do have 21 right there. So you got a straight shot to 21. 20 and 21 are on the lake. This one's not on the lake. So I don't know. Kind of like right up against awesomeness, but not quite at awesomeness. This close to the lake, but without lake views. So I probably wouldn't do 22. Keeping it real. We're almost done. There's 25 total. We're at 23. So you got a little mini roundabout. I wouldn't do an RV or trailer, but good for any other vehicle. Here's 23, just so you have an idea. This main road here is, to the right there is where the boat ramp launch is. So you are gonna have a lot of traffic of people trying to boat launch in this zone. So it's gonna create a little bit of a noise pollution. So that's suboptimal. Now that's beautiful. You're kind of up against a hill in the forest. You got the sun there on all these gorgeous pines. I like this feature. This hollowed out husk of a tree kind of whitened. So this is pretty. I'm digging the forest. You are kind of on a bit of a hill. You got to be sure-footed. You got your picnic table, you got your fire pit. Not much going on here. I mean, you got this roundabout of the boat ramp in 19 through 25, but I don't know. Serviceable, decent privacy lines relative to a lot of the other sites here. So I got to say 23's got decent privacy lines, but you're not up against the lake. You are going to have the noise pollution of the boat ramp launchers, and you don't really have anything to do. Like, you're kind of trapped. Like, it's a beautiful zone. I mean, maybe it sounds like I'm being harsh. Like, look at that. It's cool. But once you're there, you got nothing going on. You got no trail. You got no lake. You're kind of trapped in that little on that hill. There's nothing going on. So, I don't know, a little claustrophobic from my humble opinion. Here's 24. You got your driveway. I do like they did a good job between 23 and 24 creating like a demarcation line for privacy. So amen on that. Well done. So you got 24, picnic table, fire pit, very claustrophobic site. Like, this is a teeny site. Not a fan. You got a little path to the one next to you, so that's not great. People get confused. Probably would have to put your tent straight ahead because that's the only place you could put it. So 24 is super claustrophobic. I would not recommend it. See how wide this forest road is? That's because this is kind of the day use boat launch area. So you're gonna have people parked across from you. So you're gonna have all that noise pollution of people boat ramping. And you see that picnic table straight ahead, kind of in between the road. That, I believe that's a day use picnic spot. So people will be sitting there having lunch. Other people will be launching their boats straight ahead at the Blue Bay boat ramp. So you get all that background noise, and at 24, you're just fishbowled in a claustrophobic little swath of forest. So I would definitely not do 24. Here's 25. Pretty much everything I just said about 24 applies to 25. This is a day use boat ramp launch area, which is why the road's so wide. You got the garbage right there, which is convenient, but this is an inner, I guess right there is a little path over 24, and 24 is right on the other side of that. So you got 24 kind of breathing behind you, right on the other side of those trees. That's kind of creepy. And then you come up here, you got your fire pit, your picnic table. Probably put your tent straight ahead there, or I guess over there. If you put it straight ahead over there, you're kind of getting close to 24. You'll be able to hear them talking from your tent if they're up at night. Maybe you can go back up there, straight ahead, or over here. So 25's got a couple different choices where you want to put your tent, but to me that doesn't really elevate the quality of it. You right up against the boat ramp launch area, you'll be able to hear the boats backing in from your site. Got people parking here, boat parking overflow. You got a day use on the other side of this wide forest road. For all those reasons, I would not pick it. So, okay, I just walked all 25 sites here at Blue Bay Campground, Suttle Lake, south side of Suttle Lake here in Deschutes National Forest, Central Oregon. interesting campground. It's tough. These ones are always tough for me because it's like I want to love it, and I love Deschutes National Forest. It's my favorite forest, so I'm already kind of biased in favor of it because I love the topographical feel of the area. I love all the pine trees and just how gorgeous this zone is. So I have like a built-in bias in favor of it, believe it or not, and I really like Suttle Lake. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's a little gem. So you got lake proximity, you got a beautiful forest. So those are already two very strong draws in the plus column. But then when I actually walk around and look at the 25 sites, the actual lot lines, the privacy lines, slightly underwhelmed. There's definitely not like an A+ dream site. I really like it when I review a campground and I find like a dream site and I add it to my master list of dream destination bucket list campsites. And I'm like, oh, I have to stay there at least once or multiple times. And then I become an evangelist and I tell people, oh, dude, you gotta try campsite X at campground Y. I really like it when that happens. That's my favorite, actually. But that definitely didn't happen today with Blue Bay. I wouldn't say there's any one campsite that's like spectacular. Everything's trade-offs.